All right, what is up, Utah fans? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest, and I'm sure that you guys can already tell that I am quite a bit sunburned. That was a very sunny game. That was awesome. I'm sure those of you guys that were there as well might have noticed it as just like me. Forgot to wear a hat. I thought it was that time of year where we could stop wearing hats, but the sun, it beat me today. But the good news is the Utes won. Really dominating performance. The game was close early, but as it kept going, it became very clear that Utah was the better team. We started to pull away. I want to go over the numbers real quick. Cal threw for 188 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 15 of 31. That's less than a 50% completion percentage. They had 24 carries for 66 yards, so they did not average more than 3 yards a carry. Good sign there. Good things on our end, too. Utah rushing attack, 53 carries for 317 yards. Those are great stats. Our running game looked re-energized and revitalized today. It looked awesome. Really exciting stuff. Just overall, great win by Utah. And excited to talk about it. Let's go ahead and bring on our guys today. We got Larry Pilgrim and we got Brian Ankrum, a.k.a. San Antonio Ute. How are you fellas doing today?
Doing great. Awesome. This was a win that we needed to have. I feel rejuvenated right now.
Yeah, feeling great, feeling good. Nice to see our offense push the ball.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. What was that? The first game in 3 games where we saw an actual offense. So that was good stuff, dude. That was pretty exciting. And we had JJ back. Sione Vaki came out as the best Pac-12 running back of the year. Looked awesome.
There it is.
Is that Sione Vaki right there?
That is Vaki. Vaki
cool.
Gets the screen tonight. I know it's not real clear. It was kind of a crappy picture that I could get, but Vaki gets the screen.
No, he was awesome, dude. Definitely really good things to say about Vaki. Before we start breaking down each players individually, Brian, why don't you get us started off? What did you see today? Obviously, we moved the ball in offense, but what did you see today that has you optimistic about the team moving forward?
Offensive line. They came out to play today. I know they reshuffled things around on the offensive line, and it showed. They did a fantastic job. I was actually one of the few on, if you look on the Twitterverse, that was excited to see Bryson play today. I think with a full week of preparation and reps going into this game, he's never had that in his career yet. He's never had a full week of getting the number ones before a game against this Cal secondary who was kind of Swiss cheese going into this game. I was excited, but you know what? We didn't need to throw the ball. We ran the ball down their throat, and that really got me excited to see that running game come alive. Dude, Vaki. I can't say anything more. Vaki.
Yeah. You think we'll see him a lot more in that role moving forward? I know they talked about it in the press conference after. It seems like that's a plan moving forward.
Yeah, I didn't see the press conference, but 100%. I posted it on Twitter. He honestly looks like he could be one of the best running backs in the country. He's got the vision, the power, the breakaway speed, the shiftiness. I mean, he has it all. He can catch the ball out of the backfield if you throw it to him. I don't think they threw it to him much, but he can do it. I mean, he's got everything. He's like Mekhi Bernard, like 8.0.
No, yeah, he definitely looks super talented. I was super excited about Vaki. He wasn't a guy I was going into this game thinking about. I figured maybe get 1 or 2 wildcat runs and that'd be the end of it. But that is definitely not how it went. He turned out to be a big-time star from this game. I think it'd be hard to find anyone that doesn't think Vaki's the player of the game. 2 tackles, 2 assisted tackles, 158 rushing yards on 15 carries. He averaged over 10 yards a carry on 158 yards. That's crazy. Larry, tell us what you're thinking, man. What do you take away from this game? What has you optimistic looking forward?
Yeah, so I really thought, I thought it last year. Baki's he's a super freak athlete. And I was really impressed. I was worried breaking down the film from Cal. I was concerned. We haven't seen a lot of 4 and 5 receiver sets. So I was worried how we were going to play that. And I didn't like us playing off ball as much as we did. But I think Scally's making really quick adjustments this year on defense. And he got it reeled in. Anytime anybody's had some success against us, he's been pretty good at making adjustments real quick. So that's got me feeling pretty good going forward on the season.
Yeah, and I would even say, that was one thing. Early in the game, I was a little worried, right? They went up by 7, and they looked like they were running the ball really well. And you look at the second half of that game, they couldn't run the ball to save their lives. So that really good sign. I agree. I think this game really impressed me with the adjustments Scally made, Larry. Anything else you want to bring up there?
No, I was really excited to see Baki. I didn't know how much involvement he was going to get, but I had a feeling he was going to require multiple carries, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
he demanded, huh?
Yeah.
Get out there and show he needed it. Yeah. No, I get you 100%, man. That's it was awesome to see Baki go out there and look great. Let's go ahead and talk about one of the most positive things. Brian, you already touched on it a little. Before we do, guys, please make sure you drop the video a like. That'll help get it out to more Utah fans. Also, join us in the chat. We like to let you guys drive the conversation a little bit. So if you have anything you want us to talk about, drop it in the chat. Subscribe to the channel and share the video with someone if you guys want to be along for the ride. So Utah offensive line. They have been a group that I've criticized a little bit. I did my breakdown last week, and I don't think they did terribly. I think they're average to slightly below average on the year. They've also played some good D lines, right? You got to give them some slack there. But today, it felt like they went out there, and at least when it came to run blocking, they looked really good. I thought the pass blocking looked good as well. They were moving people around. And I thought one of the biggest signs that can tell you how good the offensive line was doing was how many bounces to the outside were available for the running backs. Like when you're all locking up your blocks and all doing a good job, if there's no holes on the inside, running backs have the ability to bounce it to the outside. And I feel like that's usually just a rule of thumb about whether or not the line's doing well. Brian, why don't you get us started on that, though? You said you felt pretty good about this line. What did you see specifically that has you feeling good?
I did. I just think they gelled better. I mean, we didn't leave.
Yeah, Mokofusi.
Yeah, we really didn't leave defenders unblocked like we have in the past several games. Well, really leading all the way back to the first of the year. It just seems like there's been guys that have been unblocked almost every game. I really didn't see that. I mean, there's probably one or two here, throughout the game, but I didn't see that this game. And they were opening up massive holes. The very first one was one of Baki's biggest runs of the game, where he came around and ran on that left side in between the guard and tackle, and that thing. I mean, like the Madden games, you could have driven a truck through that hole. I mean, it was wide open, and we just continued to see that all game, passing game included, I would say. We didn't do as well as I thought we would passing, but like I said, we really didn't have to. So the offensive line did their job. They were pushing them around. I'm convinced Jaquin and Jackson can get 5 yards every single carry if they just keep giving it to him. He also played great. We talk about Baki. He had a great game, but Jaquin had a really good game at running back as well. He's going to continue moving the pile. He's going to continue to push hard into the hole and get those 3, 4, 5 to, up to 8 yards a carry. And I am excited moving forward with the schedule we're faced with.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule. And you know that you talked about the running back play with Jaquindon Jackson. I wonder how much of that was the offensive line trying harder, right? Like when you have good weapons that you're actually blocking for and you believe that those weapons can make plays. And not to trash the other weapons or the other QBs or whatever, but it's like when you believe that if you hold your block and you get it done, that good things will happen. I think you just naturally, even subconsciously put more effort in. Larry, what did you see from the O-line today? How'd you feel?
Yeah,
Did you
I
have
felt
something else, Brian? Did you anything else?
I just wanted to add one more thing before Larry gives his thought. I hate it. I love Spencer Fano, but with him not playing, I think it probably helped. He's a true freshman. He's still learning, but it seemed like it helped gel the squad. So I'll let Larry add on to his thoughts, but I just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, I felt really good. I think now I forget our center's name. Anyway, he
Faeo or I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he made a huge difference. I thought they played really good, but I'm still really disappointed in Lamea and Mokafisi on screens on their side. It's like every time we run a bubble screen or anything over there, those guys literally don't touch anybody. So that's other than that, I think the offensive line looked really good today, gave Bryson time and even, made it so he could scramble and didn't get sacked. I mean, really, how many times was he in position to get sacked? Not really much. So they did pretty good there. I'd like to see us be able to block a little bit better on those screens because, they had one guy, their linebacker came in, and Mokafisi and Lamea were both right there. Either one could have took him. Neither one touched him. I think that one would have been a huge gain. But other than that, I thought they played really great. Not that we have to do bubble screens to be effective, but really loved what the line showed us today.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a good point, Larry. I feel like one thing the Utah offense could do better in general is screenplays, right? Especially bubble screens, wide receiver screens. It's kind of like an aspect of the college football game that a lot of other offenses do at a super high level that we don't always see. And I wonder how much that is just how we don't do it too often, right? I wonder how much is emphasized in coaching, like how much time they actually spend on it. Because it is a whole different, if you're one of those, if you're like Laumea and you're moving out into space and trying to meet a guy in the open field to make the block, it's like an open field tackle. It's a little tougher than a normal tackle. So little sympathy there, but I get what you're saying. Many games I've seen screen blocks from the offensive lineman just get whiffed and not fun to see that. Anything else you want to talk about on that note, Larry, before we move on?
Nope. I think they gelled really good. So, Yep.
All right. Brian, you talked about this a little bit. Jaquindon Jackson. Oh, my gosh, dude. I know all the hype heading into this week is going to be around Baki, and it's well-deserved, right? But Jaquindon really impressed me today because I agree with what you said, Brian. I knew it. We posted in our group chat. I was like, oh, thank you, dude. Jaquindon Jackson's back. I was so happy to see that because he is important. You could feel the run game being hurt by not having this guy. And I'm sure you guys noticed the same thing. The run blocking was pretty good today, but this wasn't like a trash defense. And there were times where there really wasn't anything there for Jaquindon Jackson when he was running, like maybe a 1-2 yard gain, back to the line. And he just breaks it for 5 yards. Like he runs a guy over or he bounces to a hole you don't even see. Like he creates his own hole and makes a play. Brian, how'd you feel about watching Jaquindon Jackson today, and what do you think he brought to this offense that we've been missing?
I thought he was great. One other thing, he made several first line defensive guys that were in the backfield, made them miss.
He makes people miss a lot. That's one of his best qualities.
Yeah. I saw that several times, and then he ran downhill really well. He had a few runs where he had good vision and patience where he just followed the lineman down for 4 yards. There's nothing wrong with that. I thought it was great. And then when you were talking about the one where he ran the dude over, dude, he ran him over.
Yeah.
I can't believe the dude stayed in the – well, I don't think he did stay in the game. I think he went to the sideline. Jaquindon lowered his shoulder pad and straight up trucked him. That was probably the most excited I was the entire game outside of Vaki's 72-yard touchdown run. But watching Jaquindon just mow that dude over, we've seen him do it. Like he kind of like – it's like he wants that contact. Yeah. He lowers his head and looks for those linebackers or those nickel backs or those safeties trying to come in the hole. And he did it last year against Washington State, if you remember.
Yep. Oh yeah. Damn. I love that. I remember that play.
I love that about him. He runs hard. He runs for purpose. He's our lead back. You know, everybody's, like I said before, everybody's going to talk about Vaki because he had 158 yards and he's a safety. But you take away that 72-yard Wildcat run, Jaquindon Jackson led the team in rushing if you take that away.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of Vaki's success, and I think vice versa as well, was due to Jaquindon Jackson just taking the tough runs up the middle, wearing down the defense and getting them – because you guys know how it goes. You defend the run enough all day and you start to mentally get fatigued physically, but also mentally you're just like, damn, I'm so sick of them running this ball. And then all of a sudden you start selling a little too much inside if you're that Cal defense, and Vaki bounces to the outside, breaks one for 72. Larry, what did you think about Jaquindon Jackson today? How'd you feel about his performance? And what do you think he brought to this offense that we've been missing?
Well, I mean, he's just literally like, if we go back to last year, the guy is just good for 5 to 6 yards average. He has been since he's been in that running back room and getting a majority of those carries. And he's just going to continue to do so as long as he can stay particularly, 90% healthy and up. I mean, he's solid. I remember back in the days of Zach Mosh, when he was healthy and our line was okay, it was like, even if a guy got in the backfield, you knew you were getting 2-3 yards. And it's nice to kind of have that with Jaquindon. We had it with Tavion for the most part, but we'll leave that one in the closet. And I'm loving Jaquindon. He's just solid. He's consistent. He's just consistent. And I love it.
And I was consistently explosive, like consistently. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, love him.
One thing about like Jaquindon versus what we saw with Sione. So I don't think Jaquindon is going to outrun the defense. I mean, he's fast, but he's not going to outrun the defense. One thing I saw with Sione, just switching gears a little bit, is he outran everybody. Jaquindon probably would have been caught, but the way he runs, like you were saying, he runs hard. He runs with a purpose. He is what you want to see out of a running back.
Yeah. Especially like an every down back, right? Like a guy that's going to break tackles, no excuses, find a way to get, like, doesn't matter if the play breaks down, break a tackle in the backfield, right? Get us 3-4 yards on every play. I
wanted to bring up, let me bring up something. Did anybody else notice the whistle blew and Vaki is still standing up?
Twice, 2 times in a row, twice in a row.
I think it was like almost the whole damn game. I don't know if that guy got tackled ever, like literally. So anyway, I had to throw that in there. I was just like, damn, this dude is so strong. So
no, he looks good, dude. He looks like it really similar to what happened with Jaquindon Jackson last year, where it was like he wasn't playing running back. Not exactly the same because he wasn't even playing the same side of the ball, but similar situation. I would say one shout out to this Utah coaching staff. They did it with Te'o Johnson, where he wasn't playing safety, and they spotted him, and they said, hey, this guy looks like a good safety. They did it with Jaquindon Jackson. Hey, he looks like he'd be a good running back, and same with Sione Vaki. It seems like they have an eye for body types and play styles that will work well at different positions. So I think that bears well for us in recruiting. Yeah.
Our number one and number two running backs today were a quarterback and a free/strong safety. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bryce, are you talking just yards per carry? Because Jaquindon Jackson.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about our actual running back positions. Yeah, yards per carry or total yards at the running back position. Our number one was a quarterback, Jaquindon Jackson, right?
Yeah.
And our number two was a free safety. I mean, I know they list him as a strong safety, but a free safety, Sione Vaki.
No. Yeah, that is cool. They were able to do that. Yeah. What was the next thing I wanted to talk about? I had something on my mind and I forgot about it. That's annoying. We can talk about this next, the QB situation. So I would say, Brian, I agree the game went a direction that didn't require Bryson Barnes to throw a ton, but I might feel a little differently than you. I wasn't super impressed with Bryson Barnes. I was at the game and I was watching it, and there was a few passes, like some of Mikey Matthews, who we'll talk about later, who had an awesome game. Mikey was really well covered, and there were other guys open, and he forced one in there to him and got lucky. Like there were times where he had a good completion percentage. He had basically no yards, though, 128 yards. Another really low passing performance by this offense. I would say I don't think Bryson had a terrible game, but it does have me concerned, dude. Like, I think it's optimistic to expect, no matter what, that our team could compete against the cream of the crop without Cam. But right now, if that does happen, I mean, we play USC next week. We're not throwing for under 150 yards and beating USC. I'd just love to get your guys' opinion. Larry, why don't we start with you on this one? How do you feel about the QB situation right now while we're waiting for Cam?
Yeah, there's no way I think we can keep up with Washington, Oregon, or USC without Cam. I just don't see it. This defense, like we saw against Oregon State, they're going to wear down if your offense can't stay out there. And I know USC's defense isn't that great, but we're not going to be able to compete. And it was hard today. It was nice that you were there to see, but on the TV, when he was scrambling and running around, on TV, I couldn't see what was going on in the secondary, if guys were coming open, if they were trying to get open.
There were some open guys, man. There were some.
Yeah, you would have had a better vantage point because the TV just didn't show anything. Yeah. And
hey, I remembered what I was going to say. It's a fun thing. It's a good thing. So we ran for 317 rushing yards in this game. This defense for Cal coming into this game was the number 34 rushing defense in the country, allowing only 117 rushing yards per game. So we ran for they played some good teams too. Like, it's not all good teams, but they played some good guys. And we ran for 317 yards against the number 34 rushing defense in the country. So even if we're not thrilled about the QB situation right now, that's still a good sign. Anything else you want to throw in there, Larry?
Nope.
All
Nope.
right, go for it, Brian.
Yeah, so early on, you could tell that Barnes was kind of a deer in the headlights. I mean, I rightfully so, right? I mean, he doesn't get in all that often. It's his time to shine. The game's probably moving fast. I thought he settled in nicely as the game progressed, and at that point in the game, he didn't have to throw the ball. The first drive of the game, it was the first drive of the game. He missed a wide open receiver for a touchdown. And I can't remember who the receiver was, but I mean, that was a throw. He just needed to get some air under it, but he's probably amped at that time and overshot him. I thought he settled in, but he scrambled around really well. I thought, he eluded pass rushers the entire game. When he couldn't, I thought he worked through his progressions pretty well, but like Larry was saying, I wasn't there to see the whole field, and you said there were receivers open. We couldn't tell from the TV, but it looked like you could see his head bouncing through progressions as he was sitting there.
It felt like he
thought
wouldn't
he was
pull the trigger, just so you know. Like they're live. It was like he's working through his progressions and he's not throwing it. Like he's looking
well.
at
That's
each guy and
probably a
not throwing.
coaching staff issue because they harp on him about not turning the ball over, in my opinion. But I thought he got more comfortable as the game went on. He rushed for some first downs, had some really good scrambles where he eluded the defenders and then shot it up the middle or the right side even for some first downs. I was impressed with him. We didn't ask him to throw the ball in the second half because we didn't need to. I think if he would have thrown the ball a little bit more in the second half, he probably would have had success. I believe in Bryson Barnes. Is he a number one starter on a lot of Power 5 teams? No, he's not. But guys, how many Power 5 teams outside of the elite have 2 5-star quarterbacks, on their team? We just don't have that. So for him to do what he did, I was proud as hell of what he did.
Yeah, good point. And you're right. He did run really well. And I think his high completion percentage, it was a little under 75%, 15 for 21, is pretty good. And I think what that does, it doesn't get showed on the stat line, is it keeps the drive going, right? It's like you get those little dink and dunk passes. They're not impressive in the stats, but they do keep the drives going. Good points there, Brian. All right, let's move to the next topic. We talked about a few different things, but this is what I'll bring up. How about we talk about that targeting call on Cole Bishop? One of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Yeah, I remember watching it live and thinking like, ooh, that was a little awkward at the end. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Was he kind of like reached out at the guy at the end a little bit? Didn't look like targeting, but anytime there's any like non-necessary contact, you get worried as a fan that they're going to call targeting. And then right after, they started reviewing it for targeting. So I'd love to just get your guys' take. Brian, let's start with you on this one. What did you think about that targeting call?
It was absolute trash. Absolute trash. It was a bang play. If you look at it, he probably could have made the interception. I wish he would have just went for the ball. But he's playing the receiver. He's playing the ball. You could see he tried to pull up to the right at the end and kind of hit him with the side of his body. The receiver or the tight end, whoever it was, he lowered it. His helmet went down and hit his shoulder pad and kind of partially the side of his helmet. It was the worst targeting call I've ever seen in college football, honestly.
Lanky Boy agrees with you. He says that was that targeting call was terrible. And Bo says, can we appeal that, Bo? In the press conference, Whittingham confirmed that we are. What was that?
Yeah, so I just want to add there. So the appeals process is 0 for 93 in college football. But maybe there's a first time for everything.
They confirmed in the press conference that they are appealing it. But like Brian said, it just means you're going to do it. It doesn't mean that anything's going to happen. And more likely than not, nothing will happen. But that was a pretty egregious one, and maybe they will get that flipped. Hopefully it does happen. I mean, I'm a little worried about not having Cole Bishop for the first half against USC. That's a little concerning. Brian, anything else you want to add in? Yeah, go for
it. I'm not as worried after Nate Ritchie came in and looked as well as he did. Nate Ritchie looked great. He had 4 tackles, 3 solos, a sack. I mean, he did great, I thought. So having that backup in this circumstance is not the end of the world.
Agreed. And worst case, they could put Te'o Johnson and Baki back there and then put DeMooney more reps in the box at linebacker. So that works out. Richie had some mistakes against Oregon State, but it does look like he cleaned it up. Larry, you want to give your thoughts on that targeting call?
Yeah, it was horrible. Even if the roles were reversed, I would have felt like we would have got away with the call. If that was reversed, it literally, he skiffed him with his shoulder pad and most of the force was like in Cole Bishop's back from what I could see. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he totally turned to the point where his back was actually what made more of the contact. And I agree with Brian. The guy lowered his head. Bishop turned his head and tried to go down, and the other guy went down as well. And, the guy on the sideline, the tight end that got it, was laughing,
Yeah, I saw that too. He's like patting the top of his head. He's like, "Don't hit me with your head, dude." And it was so annoying. Yeah.
It was not I mean, that was just ridiculous. That was horrible. But Pac-12 refs,
Yeah. Well, what's crazy about? Were you gonna say something, right?
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. Yeah, that would get me banished from YouTube. So.
Well, I also wanted to say one quick note about targeting. I know since they've implemented targeting, I think there's some stats about players having less injuries. What I would love to look at, because I played DB for a long time, and one of the fun parts about playing DB was those hits. Like my football career, I didn't play college, but I played high school, and it was a long time ago before targeting. And the fun part about playing defensive back is that you get to light people up every now and then. Like they won't see it coming, and you get to just lower your shoulder and ruin their day. I wonder if they pull the stats on defensive players getting injured since they implemented targeting penalties, because you can get injured by pulling off hits. That's why they always say go 100%, because if you don't, you could hurt you and the other person even worse. So I would just love to see how that goes. Anyone else want to make any comments on the targeting before we move forward?
I made a comment. I made a comment online. I said, I'm just against targeting in general. I hate it, and I hate it for any team. If I was watching some random team that I didn't even care about, and I saw that hit, I would say this is absolutely ridiculous. And it not just because I like Utah. This was an absolutely ridiculous targeting call. So I'm just going to lay that out there. We're going to let the powers that be do what they do 100% of the time so far, and they're going to keep Cole Bishop out the first half at USC. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys thought the same thing as me. I was like, this game feels kind of over right now. It was 24-14, I think, when that happened. And I was like, it feels like we're pulling away a little bit. And I was like, damn, he's not going to be in against USC. That was the first thing I came up with. And I agree. That was what was it?
Well, I just saw a comment that said Cole Bishop was guilty of less targeting than Walmart. Credit to DW2CB.
Jake says targeting's gotten out of hand. Yeah, and I would say personally, I'm like you, Brian. I never agreed with targeting. I always felt like if you played football at any decent level, you understand how weird of a concept that is to pull off when you're about to hit someone. It's really
exactly. Odd. It's the same thing with a quarterback slide. I don't agree with any of that crap either. I mean, if a defender's going for the tackle and the quarterback slides and they hit him, so we get an unnecessary roughness penalty. And I'm not saying Utah, just in general, you get an unnecessary roughness penalty. It's one of those ridiculous calls. What I really disagree with, why the hell would you hold him out the first half of the next game? NCAA really needs to look into this. This is outrageous.
Yeah. Well, what about that call on Tafuna when he was going in and he basically had a lineman? He had a lineman not tackle him, but take him down, and he's falling forward. Yeah. Well, what the hell do you want the guy to do? The quarterback's right there.
Well, first of all, it should have been blown dead because it was encroachment. So they screwed up twice on that play.
Well, they finally got. If you guys didn't notice that Cal center, they finally got him on the infraction. But did you guys notice how he would snap his head and his hand on the ball, and it took him like till the end of the game before they finally started calling it? So yeah, Pac-12 refs, man, gotta love them.
All right, let's move on to something a little more positive. Let's talk about Mikey Matthews. And I want to go through kind of a list of players here, and I want you guys to just kind of say, something positive about what they've been doing, like maybe just what your opinion is on this player, and hopefully let's keep it all positive. I mean, I can't imagine it wouldn't be. But Mikey Matthews, I'll just start with him. Mikey has been a guy that, for me, the most impressive thing about him is making tough catches. 7 targets today, 7 catches. And like I said when we were talking about Barnes, I mean, the guy was draped all over Matthews, and Barnes threw it to him, and Matthews makes the catch. I think this guy has a really bright future. I think he's our leading receiver right now. I don't have the number in front of me, but I'm 99% sure he is.
I can pull it up while you're
He
talking.
was today. I know he was.
No, I mean
today.
on the season. I'm almost 100% sure he's the leading receiver.
I'll pull it up while you're talking.
And he looks awesome. He's good after the catch. He made a couple clutch, like chunk yardage plays off little dump offs or screens. I thought he looked great today. Larry, while Brian's getting that pulled up, why don't you talk a little about what you think of Mikey Matthews?
Oh man, I think that kid's ceiling is so high. Once we get somebody back behind center, that can get him the ball, I think his ceiling's not even close. I think he's lightning in a bottle, and we just need that Cam Rising pop to top off of it. And I think he's next level.
Yeah, I bet you once Cam Rising's back, we'll see a whole new step forward for Mikey Matthews. I think that'll be exciting. And Brian, why don't you tell us what you think of Mikey Matthews?
I love Mikey Matthews. I mean, he's a true freshman. This kid is a straight up baller. What is he, 5'8"? I mean, he doesn't play 5'8" on the field because, I mean, Britton Covey kind of played that 5'8", is a little speedster. Matthews can actually run through some people, and I like that. He plays a little bit differently. There's similarities, but he plays a little bit differently, and I absolutely love that. He's nails out there. He's got great hands. He's going to get good yards after the catch. He just needs to figure out the more vertical game. He kind of runs horizontally a lot of the time, especially on punt returns. If he can get that vertical game figured out, he's going to be super dangerous. He does not lead the team in receiving. Money Parks does, by the way, but Matthews is second. And
I actually think he does. I'm looking at the same thing you are, but this is the same number from last week, so I don't think that's counting today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure
they didn't update it. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So
he is. He's leading the team. Good stuff.
He definitely does, because Money Parks did not have a day today, and nothing against Money. He's another exciting player that to look forward to on the receiving.
Oh, Micah Pittman's out for the year, confirmed. Just so everyone knows.
Of course he is. That's not surprised. That's not surprising. I'm not going to say anything negative, but he's I don't think
he's out for the year for non-injury reasons.
I don't think he's hurt.
Yeah, I don't think he's hurt either.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think he's on his last year. He has 1 year. I think he only has 1 year left of eligibility, doesn't he?
I mean, hey, yes, he is hurt. Yes, he is hurt. Is he going to get a medical red shirt and come back with possibly Rising and Keithy next year? Yeah. In full hats.
Or he could transfer to another school, a fourth school.
No, yeah. I mean, he's good at that. I
sometimes
say that.
You ever think about that when players keep transferring? Because you guys know how it is, right? In the working world, you keep going to new jobs, and same things keep happening at every job. Like maybe it's not the job, maybe it's you.
So in my personal profession, as a hiring manager, if I see a person with a whole bunch of jobs on their resume that's a red flag.
Huge red flag, dude. And you always ask them, and it's the most awkward question. You're like, so why is it going to be different at our company and not the other 12?
Hey, grass is always greener, baby.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Well, let's not talk too much about that. But yeah, Mikey Matthews seems awesome. Seems like a playmaker. Let's talk a little about Jonah Ellis. For me, I think the thing about Jonah Ellis that's standing out to me right now and why I have so much faith in him continuing to be a star is he just keeps doing it, dude. It's like you expect the week to come where he has 0 sacks and nothing happens. And this would have been that week,
I don't
right?
expect that. Do you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But your pessimistic part of your brain keeps thinking like, hey, eventually it won't look so good. But he just today he had 1.5 sacks. So that puts him at like 9 sacks on the year. He's still right up at the top. And I'm telling you, the rest of the guys at the top of that list for sacks are not playing the competition he's playing.
And Joseph, I disagree. I disagree with that 1.5 sacks. I saw at least 2 sacks. I thought he had 3 sacks on the game. How did they come up with 1.5? I mean, I'd have to go look. He 100% had 2. He 100% had 2 because there was the one where they credited him for the sack on where that quarterback kind of fumbled the snap and he was right on him. And then he also had the strip sack. So that's 2 right there.
And then the half was the one that I think O'Toole and him kind of combined on. Yeah, he should have had 2.5.
1.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for a loss. Then Van Fillinger has
that's
2
according
sacks.
to ESPN. You and I are looking at the same thing, apparently.
Yeah. Maybe that's off though, because if it is, that's great.
It can't be right. It can't be right because he had two solo for sure that I saw.
Well, why don't you talk about him first, Brian? Why don't you tell us about what you think about Jonah Elliss right now?
Did you say me talk about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's unstoppable. Like you watch him off the edge, and that little spin move he does. How do you stop that? I was watching him most of the game. I mean, how many? He had several holding penalties where he blew by him, where they had to hold him to bring him down as well. I mean, and they called him, rightfully so. He is incredible. Like we've needed this kind of edge rusher for a lot of years. And here's the thing, like it's not just him. There's so many. Fano was doing it, and I know Fano wanted to be out there with this team, but he had to love what he saw today. Watch him from the bed. Having him back next year is going to be fantastic because he's seeing all this happen. He was doing it with Ellis, and that sounded bad, but he was opposite of Ellis, just taking the quarterback taking the quarterback basically to the ground 5 to 6 times a game. And then if we look now, Van Fillinger, he's struggled for a long time and he looked great today. I loved seeing Van get back into. He's just been hurt a lot is the problem. And Connor O'Toole played and still getting his feet underneath.
Was Van going against the right tackle?
We have so many good defensive ends.
Was Van going against the right tackle?
What's that?
Was Van going against the right tackle?
Van was going against the right, correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I would say I'm a guy that really wants Van Fillinger to do well. The same thing that happened last year against Washington State, where I remember pointing it out that he might have a big
edge.
Their right
edge
tackle.
Containment?
Well, no, just their right tackle was the worst graded player on their offense. So.
Oh yeah, true.
So that could have been a factor.
And Van struggled with edge containment again, but we're talking about rushing the passer, and he got a sack, and I was it was like a 12-yard loss on that sack. I mean, it was huge. So I just think our defensive ends are so damn good this year, and it's never ending. One guy goes down. Who do we got? Well, we got the best defensive end on the team coming in to backfill. I mean, in Connor O'Toole, Connor O'Toole is going to be back in full force. Like this game, I think he was just getting his feet underneath him. He was out basically since fall camp. So we're going to see a lot of him and Jonah Ellis moving forward, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and Connor O'Toole had half a sack, half a tackle for a loss, so that's good. Good start. Good day. Yeah, that's going to be exciting because you are right. Van Fillinger does make some simple mistakes with edge containment, and I think there's times where I think we've all talked about it before where he does lack some speed. He's a thick guy, dude. He looks almost more like a D tackle than an edge rusher. He's a thick guy. All right, Larry, what did you feel about Jonah Ellis? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I felt like he was pretty good. I was starting to worry a little bit towards the end if he was going to get tired out. But he was doing good. I'm just shocked they haven't chipped as much on him. They're not, sooner or later, they're going to start to learn that they can't stop him. He's just so fast and he's so strong for his size. Yeah, I really like his spin move. He's got a great dip and power in it. So, yeah, he's just awesome. And we're down to, I don't know if you're going to bring up O'Toole and Fillinger later, but neither one of those guys looked completely healthy, in my opinion. I mean, Fillinger looked like he had a hamstring issue or something because he was having a hard time running. So
I just don't think they have their legs under him, Larry.
Yeah, well, he's got a leg issue. You could see when he was running.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was like his lungs weren't working. Like you can tell when a guy's just wiped out. He was staggering when he was running, when he was chasing down the quarterback, and his right leg, he was having to kind of drag it a little bit. So I don't think O'Toole and Fillinger at 100%. Ellis is looking awesome. And I was hoping to see Kennedy. Was he out there today? I didn't see Kennedy today.
Let's see if he has any stuff.
And I didn't see that. Oh, that's another one. I mean, so we just keep talking about the defensive ends that never never stop. Kennedy's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kennedy's a guy, dude. When he committed to Utah, and I remember breaking down his film, Kennedy's a guy that I think could be really special. I'm surprised he hasn't done better on his snaps. He could be really good though.
Yeah, Ellis keeps this up. He'd be smart to enter the draft. So
no.
I know I don't want it either, but I know.
LA says Witt said O'Toole didn't finish the game. That's not good.
That doesn't necessarily mean bad, though. I don't know. I didn't see an injury. Did you?
I didn't either. All right, let's move on to the next guy. We obviously have a great room of edge rushers. I think we all agree on that. And I actually feel like that's sometimes, like the past couple of years, our edge rushers have been really good at times and not been good at other times. I'd say this is pretty confidently our best year overall of edge rushers since I've been covering the team. It's a good group. All right, and the final guy, obviously a crazy performance today, Sione Vaki. I think if I'm going to pick based on today and looking at how he plays on defense, I'm just going to say versatile. This guy is tell him what you need to do or what you need him to do, and he's going to go get it done, dude. The fact that he excels as a strong safety, excels as a free safety, excels as a box safety, excels as a linebacker, excels as a nickel corner last year, excels as a running back. Excels as a wildcat quarterback. It's pretty damn impressive. As I was going through that list, I forgot about some of those. Like he was a nickel corner all last year. The kid is an animal. I think he's one of the most underrated, underappreciated weapons on this team. And I hope he gets a lot of the credit that he deserves after this week. And I hope people understand outside of a great running back performance, how much he actually does for the squad. Larry, let's have you start with this one. What do you think about Sione Vaki?
Oh, the guys, when you look at his, he hasn't done a combine, but you look at his numbers. You guys know his numbers, right? The guy benches. Okay, he's 205. He's 6 foot. Did you know he benches 400 pounds?
Damn.
He's a freak. Yeah.
He squats 540 or 560. He's got a 37-inch vertical, a 10.4 broad jump, vertical? And he runs a 4.540. Like
you saw his 40. He might run better than a 4.540. Also,
last time I heard or reported was a 4.540. So, a guy that can bench he's a freak. He's just one of those athletes that's, just insane. He's got the strength of a linebacker or the speed of a DB. And yeah, he's just amazing. I gloated. I made a comparison to USC player to a USC guy, and I said, I know he's not there. And I said, I don't want to compare him yet. I said, but this guy has Polamalu type possibilities in him.
I think it's a really good comparison, actually.
That's a good comparison.
Obviously, you can't say he's Polamalu, but
no, because I mean, yeah, but the capability.
No, he's not, because Polamalu's not him, because Polamalu never ran for 150 something yards and 2 touchdowns in a football game. But
all right, let's move. Brian, tell us what you think Sione Vaki means for this team, man.
I mean, we talked about it all summer. I mean, this was the guy that I was super excited about at safety, and I never thought I'd see him at running back, and I never thought we'd have this conversation. But he's been a safety, he's been a nickel, he's been a running back, he's been a quarterback because he runs the Wildcat. What about actually throwing him at quarterback and seeing what he can do at this point?
Couldn't be much worse than what we've been seeing.
What the hell? Yeah. What do we have to lose? I mean, he is absolutely incredible everywhere he plays on the field. I mean, he can seriously play any position, minus obviously probably interior offensive line. He could probably play interior defensive line and be just fine because he could slide around and push guys around. Man, I don't know how you can say any more good things about Sione Vaki than what we already have. The dude is incredible.
Yep, I agree 100%, dude. He's an awesome player, and I feel like for hardcore Utah football fans like us, we probably understand his value, but I would imagine today was probably the first time for some of the more casual fans to really understand what Vaki means to this team. So I think
Sione Vaki made a lot of money for himself today. I will say that.
Yeah. Maybe some car dealerships will offer him not just a truck. So there you
go. Let's do this thing and keep him away from the draft. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk next real quick before there's.
Can I cut you off, Joseph?
Go for it.
Notre Dame just scored again. They're up 17-3 on USC.
Yeah, and I said USC was going to win. You said Notre Dame was going to win. So good job on you. Yeah, what's his name? Kyle A posted.
Not over yet. It's not over yet. It's almost halftime, but USC has 3 points with 4 minutes left in the first half.
One other one I liked in the chat was DW2CB said Sione, more like Simeni. I thought that was a little corny, but it's funny.
I like it.
Many positions. All right, let's talk real quick. I'm just going to say
with the Spanish, yes, many.
Yes, many. One thing today that happened was Washington beat Oregon. And I think when you consider the 3-point edge to Washington for being at home, it's kind of like, you give them that. I think Oregon still looks awesome. If you ask me, I probably think Oregon's still the better team. If that was Oregon at home, I think it's a 7-10 point win for Oregon. And I would say shout out to the Washington fans. I'm a little worried about playing there. That's a legit home field advantage, dude. They have a good home crowd. They were loud. They were into it. They were excited. So good for them.
It always is.
Yeah, it really is. And the next thing I want to talk about is Utah versus USC. This is going to be the final topic before we get out of here. Please make sure you guys like the video before we get out of here. Comment down below. What do you guys think about Utah versus USC, or any opinions you guys want to give on any of the topics we've been talking about? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We put out a ton of Utah Utes football content, all 3 of us, and there's more guys on top of us that put out even more content. Especially, guys, we're about to go into USC, Washington, Oregon. All those games are coming up. We are going to overload you guys with content. So if you are looking for Utah Utes football content, now is the time to subscribe to the channel.
Caleb just threw his 3rd interception. Caleb Williams
just bad against Arizona for a
while.
They're
gonna have 3 points at half. This is
he just threw his 3rd interception. That's actually the reason Notre Dame has the points they have is because Caleb Williams is giving them the ball in the red zone.
So Caleb struggled against Arizona, man. This is a bad look. I mean, maybe he's not the automatic. I mean, based on Caleb this year, I'm not picking him 1st overall. There's a bunch of other guys I would want more than Caleb.
I disagree completely. He is the best quarterback in college football. I think
honestly, go watch Michael Penix and watch go watch the past 2 games from Michael Penix, or this year from Michael Penix, and go watch, add this year and last year together. I don't see, and I would say there's other guys. He's not the best quarterback in the Pac-12, Caleb Williams. Not right now. Not with what we're seeing, dude. He needs to do better than this if he wants to be the first overall pick.
I just think he's the best athlete. He moves around so well, but we're not here to talk about.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about this. Let's not talk about how much Caleb Williams sucks. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Utah versus USC. So this is what I'm going to say. Let's start with this. Let's start with, is Cam playing? Let's just make that the first thing we chat about. Larry, you go first.
I honestly think this is where we see him back. I saw him out there today running around looking good, where he hasn't had any swelling for a month. It's easy to see why Kyle's thought he would be cleared, because it's one of the first signs that your leg is pretty much healed. It's not swelling. You're not taking on fluids. I think this will be the first game that he comes back. I really do.
Yeah, we definitely need him, dude. If there's there's been so many milestones throughout the season where we're like, hey, this should be the time where Cam's coming back. I think we've all gotten exhausted. We've all gotten tired of it. So this is the one, though. It's like, hey, these are the elite Pac-12 teams coming up. We need you here, Cam. Brian, what are you thinking, man? Is Cam back?
It's funny. I'm going to agree again. I hate being the one that agrees all the time, but I'm agreeing again with what Larry said. I actually heard, and I don't even know who it was from. It was, someone that saw a source or somebody that said that he actually did take reps this week, just not number one reps, and that he looked really good. And I hope
Alex Markham. Alex Markham.
Was that who it was? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he probably has, he has sources and ties to the team. So
I would say, Brian, on top of that, though, a lot of people commented on the videos last week talking about that too. That they said they go to Utah and they saw him taking snaps.
And that gives me optimism. And like Larry said, there's been no swelling. That I know this article came out with the doctor from an athletic interview that they had with the doctor, and he said 10 to 12 months, right? 10 to 12 months for this surgery with recovery time. But he also did say he's ahead of schedule, and there's been no swelling in the knee, and he's been doing very well. There's no fluid or swelling, and we're at 9 months now. So, I mean, that would be ahead of 12 months, right? So, in my opinion, I think Cam could come back this week. He's going to Southern California, miles from where he grew up. He's going to have his entire family and friend base in attendance. This would be the perfect time to go 3-0 in the last 2 years against USC. Calling it.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, Brian, in the article, the guy says, the doctor, Elatrache, says a week or 2 weeks. He doesn't give any other timeline. He just says it could be a week. Yeah. It could be 2 weeks. And I know that's a little.
I think it's 2 days. I think it's 2 days.
It could be a little QT, but it's like, hey, like, why didn't he say a month? Like he thinks it's a week or two. So that's really, really exciting, guys. So let's go ahead and imagine that Cam is in. I think you've got to imagine that. I think obviously if Cam's not in, it's a bad sign. I do want to say, before we talk about what we think is going to happen in the game, one other thing I wanted to bring up is 2021, we won the Pac-12 championship. 2022, we won the Pac-12 championship. Both seasons at this point in the year, 6 games in, we had 2 losses. So I just want fans that might be freaking out a little bit to just take a step off that ledge. Like, we are 5-1. And we have been doing it against intense adversity. It does not matter how much all the media pundits and stuff are counting us out, guys. This is our best start we've had. So be optimistic about the future. Everything is still in front of us. There's some great 5-1 teams out there right now, guys.
And we've done it against some really good defenses. Let's remind folks that hate this Utah offense. We didn't play a good defense today per se, but the Utah offense put up 34 points and should have had 44. You remember the Bryson Barnes overthrow and the easy chip shot missed field goal. Should have had 44 points today. So let's have a little optimism here. It's not the end of the world. Sky's not falling.
Brian, I'll even be more optimistic than you. I think we did play great defense. We took a team that averages 200 plus rushing yards a game, and we held them to under 70 rushing yards.
They're not a great defense. They've given up 50 points 3 times this year, so I wouldn't say they're a great defense.
Who? Us?
No.
No. I thought you were talking about Utah's defense didn't play great today. Oh, okay.
I said we have played good defenses, but not necessarily today. We did not play a great defense today, is what I was saying.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. And with that, let's talk about if Cam's in, if all goes well, we got our squad. I'm gonna guess we don't have Brent Keithy. I think that's a fair guess, but we have Cam back. If you guys want to follow up on that, maybe. I mean, I'd be shocked that we have so many updates on Cam's timeline, right? Like there's been so many, and we just get nothing on Keithy.
Hey, I'm out. Notre Dame just scored again, 24-3.
Whew, dude. It's Notre Dame's coming out party. Or, dude.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, dude.
No, that's all right, dude. Not even worry. And, dude, I would say USC, right? I'd say even without Cam, I think we might be scarier than USC. I know that sounds weird, but it's like,
we are.
Colorado just got beat at home by Stanford last night. And then
dude, we are scarier than USC.
No,
USC
without Cam, it is. I don't think. I don't know. USC doesn't do it for me this year. So
no.
All right. So let's imagine no Brant Keithy, but we got Cam. What are the keys to the game for us to win this? You can give stats. You can give concepts. What do you guys think, Brian? Brian, you can go ahead and go first on this. What do you think we need to do in order to beat USC?
So first and foremost, we have to put pressure on Caleb Williams, but it has to be
contained.
Kind of subdued pressure or contained pressure. You can't go balls to the wall at him. He'll run around you. I mean, he's the most elusive quarterback in the game. We've seen it time in and time out. You watch other teams and it's the same thing. So we need to have containment pressure similar to what we did last year, where you kind of got to break down as you're going to sack him, unless it's just a pure blindside shot. But Gabe Reed did that phenomenally last year, and if we just watch the film, hopefully they just replay that championship game film over and over and over this week, because that was perfect contained pressure, and get the running game going, keep the running game going. I mean, honestly, we can run on this defense. We don't even need to worry about passing, honestly. I think we can run the ball on this defense. It'll open up the passing game a little bit, which it's a secondary that, they really they hate tackling. And that's kind of an important key in a game where you have to bring a guy to the ground to get a stop. So USC sucks on defense this year. That's putting it bluntly. They brought in a bunch of guys that on paper they were supposed to be so much better. They're worse. Alex Grinch is a terrible defensive coordinator. I don't know what he has on Lincoln Riley.
It's weird. Why does he keep bringing him back? Weird.
He's never been good. He's never been good. I mean, he was a Mike Leach guy, right? And they never had good defenses. How did he? And then he got with Lincoln. Blah 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 blah. Hopefully, Alex Grinch still has a job after this weekend. They're down 24-3. I hope he has a job after this weekend, because that defense is terrible. So we just need to continue running the ball, put pressure on them, grind the clock, and then contained pressure on Caleb Williams. And I think we can do that. Their offensive line is atrocious.
I agree. I think running the ball, because I think we have a really, really good defense. I don't see USC even with a good day by Caleb Williams or like a decent day, I don't see them running up the scoreboard on us. I'm sure you guys feel the same. It's like, I don't think it's going to be a wildly high scoring game. And I think we need to score at a high percentage, have good time of possession, and make sure we just take advantage, because our defense will get stops, will force turnovers. I mean, these past 3 games have shown Caleb Williams can definitely bleed. So what do you think, Larry? What do you think we need to do on offense and defense to win this game?
Yeah, offensively, control the line of scrimmage, and I think we can. I mean, I'm watching this game now, and Notre Dame is just running on will. I mean, we're talking 7-8 yards every run. I'm not kidding you. They're pushing them around. So
you got me excited, Larry. You got me excited over here, dude.
Yeah, I'm just literally watching. Notre Dame is pushing USC's offensive line around without a doubt. And so offensively, I think as long as we control the trenches, we're fine. I'm not sure we're going to get it done with Bryson. Cross my fingers, but that Cam's in there. But I think if Cam's in there, I think we're good. I think we're going to win. Defensively, I think Scalley's got Lincoln Riley's number. I think he's got his number. I think he's got his scheme down, because like everybody said that used to be in the Big 12, every year Lincoln's offense regressed because they started to figure out how to defend him. I think Scalley's just a faster student. So I think we're going to do pretty good if we have Cam in there. If we don't have Cam in there, it's going to be dicey.
Yeah, and we're going to talk. Hey, Brian, you're muted.
I think we're good either way.
I hope we're good either way, but I also, more than anything, I just want Cam to be back, because I agree with you, Brian. I think we're both on the same page that right now, obviously Utah at full strength, we both think wins the Pac-12, but outside of that, it's Oregon. And I would love to get that USC game in with Cam and get all the – I don't think there's a ton of rust, but there's got to be rust, and there's got to be even against Oregon, he won't be 100% of what he was. He'll be close, though. It's like, let's get him in there, get him some live reps before Oregon. That home crowd we have is going to be a factor. It always is. And dude, if Oregon and Utah are both 6-1 headed into that game, dude, you guys think that could be college game day? Or
yes,
Oregon and Utah.
It will be.
You think it will be? Yeah. I mean, we could look at the rest of the games that week, but I can't imagine there's much better than that, because people know if Cam's back, people know.
If we beat USC and then Oregon's going to win next week, college game day will be at Utah, because Oregon should have beat Washington. We didn't touch on that game. You kind of skimmed over it, but Oregon should have beat Washington today. They had multiple opportunities. Oregon blew that game.
Yeah, I couldn't believe they couldn't get that third or the fourth down conversion to make it happen. And then they could have kicked
field goals. They could have kicked field goals too. I mean, they blew that game.
Yeah. It's funny. We sound like Oregon fans, but we're not. All right, guys. Well, let's get out of here. Do you guys want to touch on anything else before we close this?
So I want to do a video this coming week and do a really great breakdown and get a little more intel and have some great film on that. And
the film review?
Yeah, really show what we need to do to attack Caleb.
That will be a banging video, because you know how many other teams want to watch a video breakdown of Caleb Williams? Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like, I bet you that gets a ton of hype. So yeah, do a good job, Larry. I bet you it'll pay off. Brian, anything you want to say?
Not really, except one thing. I mean, we should do this more often. These kind of post game things after a win is fun. They should win more often.
Yeah. That's the last thing we're going to say. Just Utah keep winning. Yeah. And you guys will see. You guys have not been part of it yet. Wait till you see it. Once we win one of these big Pac-12 games, the live stream after it is so fun. Like, this was a Pac-12 game, but this was not. You guys will see. If we beat USC, if we beat Oregon, Washington, or when we beat them, It'll be a great time. I know a lot of the guys in the chat have been with the channel for a long time, and Larry's been with the channel for a long time as well.
Can I add on to this? Like, I just wanted to say, like, I read all the comments in the chat and love everybody that comes in and joins us, minus the trolls. I mean, don't love them, but they bring it, a different aspect and a fun aspect to it. But I love all the comments, and I know Joseph does too. And I chat throughout the show. I'm sitting here typing with these guys. I love it, and keep bringing it. It's fun. It helps bring up different topics and creates a good atmosphere, amongst the whole group here, and just continue doing what you're doing and get more people to join and watch these. I mean, we have a good time here at the end of the games, and that's all I got to say.
No, absolutely. And from all of us to you guys, go Irish. We will see you guys next week. Go Utes.
Go Irish, baby. Go Utes. Go Utes. Beat USC.
Bye, guys.